Okay. Good morning. Morning, Mojo. Hope you're well. Hope things are going okay. Need to move that over there. It's all. Why did I get that? What I'm trying to do is I'm still visible. Things are looking better. Sorry to hear things aren't. Yeah. How's Pulumi? Pulumi is okay. I made a screw up yesterday, and I'm trying to figure out why I don't have the instructions and why it isn't obvious to me. I deleted the secret out of Kubernetes, and that was added by something else. So I'm trying to read through some of the other things to find out which piece I'm missing. So I'm losing. I lost a secret file, tunnel credentials, but I don't remember seeing it in the first place. So yeah, and I'm trying to look through some of the examples, but I can't get them into the right mode. So when I'm looking at other people's definitions and they don't agree with how I did it, so I'm just trying to validate that part. Oh. Well, that person configured the entire tunnel through Pulumi. Yeah, we're not doing that. And hello, important guy. Sorry, how you doing? Everyone asking about how's Pulumi. Nobody asking why Pulumi. Oh, here we go. Where's the secret should be mentioned somewhere. The creds. See, this does. Create secret. Okay, sorry. I'll Hey, Bill, usual. How you doing? So they create namespace. They create the secret from file. Then, but I don't want to commit these. The problem is I don't want to commit these to my. Do I want to commit these to my repo? I don't think I want to commit those to my repo. That would seem bad because if I do this, then because I have those, right? Those files are here. Dot Cloudflare. Those are those two files. Um, this creates a deployment for the tunnel with config YAML. Not sure I like the idea of taking a personalized. Is that a personalized image of the Cloudflare tunnel? It's kind of scary. And then we take the auth volume and the well, no, but they don't add the secret in here. So the secret in the original, the creds came from the secret subpath cert PM. Whereas they just map the files directly in there and don't have the secret. I kind of prefer not having this because then I can have, then we just need to create a file called tunnel credentials. So yeah. Config YAML. That comes from that. Just to align with other people's way of doing it. Config map text. That's reading that in. Relax, guys. One's got a toy, the other one wants a toy, so she's crying just enough to tell him. Sorry about the mic bump there. So I need to create this secret. Basically that. That's of course telling me exactly what I need to know, isn't it? So if I go to here and I do kubectl create secret, namespace is going to be, hey, relax. Namespace is going to be ls client ng because I'm going to put everything in client ng namespace. Put the tunnels in the same namespace, and the secret is only accessible there, and the tunnel couldn't be used for multiple things at that point. Let me move this over here so I don't have to keep flicking back and forth. Namespace. What's generic? What's generic in the argument? The other person basically uses the Cloudflare API and then configure the tunnel completely through Pulumi. But I just need the tunnel working. I don't need this to be a totally reconfigurable thing. I have access to this machine. I can create this secret off this machine. This isn't something that you would check out and run. This is so I can run it. Hey, you're fine. Relax. Go get you the toy. Go get you the toy. Yeah, he's being a jerk. Uses yell create secret. I suppose I could do the arguments. Help. Taylor. Create a secret from a local file directory or literal value. Okay, so that's what that argument is. Create secret dash n ls client ng generic tunnel. We're going to call it tunnel credentials. And then we need from file equals dot Cloudflare. Hold on, JSON from file equals cloudflare. I think it's just cert.pem. No such file directory. Okay. Don't know how much of that you can hear on the stream. I hope not too much. kubectl create secret. Taylor, stop. And ls client ng generic tunnel credentials from file equals from file equals cert.pem. kubectl create ns ls client ng, because I haven't done Pulumi up. That's why that's happened. Okay, there we go. So now if we open headlamp, we should go to security, no, configuration secrets. We should have tunnel credentials in ls client ng. See, that's weird. That's not how it used to look. I think that's right. Because, yeah. So what they did was take the secret, the creds, and map to creds. I don't think that's going to work though, because now that is not a file, that's a directory. I don't know what, I can't find the original documentation I used, which is weird. Figuring Cloudflare tunnel. That's not right. I don't know where I got this from, but I didn't have. There is, of course, a billion and one different ways of doing this. Hey. They're going to go into full fight mode in a minute because she wants the toy he's playing with. Hmm. So I'm just looking up some extra pieces off the screen so I don't keep flashing tabs and stuff off on screen. Not sure why the original documentation I had. install Cloudflare, image pull. The interesting thing is that the one I had, this, is the only one that has, like, I wonder if I could find it by that. What this tells me is I need to keep a better track of the documentation I am reading. Now, this is not from the Cloudflare docs. I'm 100% certain of that part. Cloudflare Zero Trust. Connect through Cloudflare using kubectl. See, that's fine. So that config YAML, tunnel, ls tunnel. What is ls? That's just the name, isn't it? That suggests that's actual. That's the actual tunnel ID. Yeah, that's the actual tunnel. Okay. Implementation guides. Well, it's frustrating. That's what I'm trying to avoid. Never mind. Okay, let's try a new one of these. How do I configure secret a Cloudflare tunnel with K8S? From file. Ah. Okay, so if we delete that secret, delete that one. So what they're saying, like they're an actual thing. So here, if I do tunnel.json equals that, that will give me, yes. Okay, now I'm going to just pull that off screen so I can have a look and see what it looks like. The original had, right, it did not have the cert in there, so that's interesting. So the original just had tunnel.json. So if I figure out how it's to reference tunnel.json, I should be okay. Volume mounts, creds. Thank you for the look, important guy. By the way, I don't see commands in that window. I was covering up this window. So if I do, so that's secret tunnel credentials. So that would give me creds. That would give me a folder called creds. This doesn't reference that. Oh, it does. Would that be that? Let's go back here. Let's go back here. Index, build infrastructure. Let's just bring that down a second. And that. I think that's right. I don't think I need the cert in there. See if this comes up this time. So yesterday the issue we're having was the tunnel deployment would not start. We're gonna have the same issue today, it looks like. Oh joy. Ask every AI model the same question and see different results. No such file directory. There we go. That's the problem. Cloudflare config YAML. What? No such file directory. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I know. Did I just change that in the opposite way? Oh, so got rid of the A. Tell you what, next time, microphone's too close. Next time I have a question, I will ask it to more than one AI. Let's see which one gets me closest. So far, Gemini's been a little better at the answers for me. Okay, let's do this. Pulumi up. -Y. I closed headlamp then. I did. Okay, we have a tunnel deployment. And it's running. And it's running. Okay. Okay. Now let's do Pulumi down. No, actually, we don't need to do Pulumi down. What we can do is bring everything else up. So go here. Let's bring all the supporting pieces back into play. Okay, so that should now have. Oh, come on. No, no, not again. Okay, that's recoverable. That's recoverable. That's because I have no stateful storage for the that's recoverable. I have no stateful storage for the console component. So what we do there is you kubectl get services ls what is this? Get console. It's in its own namespace. Kubectl. The one thing I'll learn eventually is like what is a good namespace in practice. So here we do ls console. That'll get us the service. Oh yeah. Kubectl port forward service slash console service 8599 to 8500. N is ls console. That'll get us that, which then gets us to here. Localhost 8599. That gets us in there. So we go to key value store. I don't need to bring this up on screen. It's fine. We take this, we copy that, key value. We call it Kafka -configuration. We paste that in there. We save that. And now what you should see is when this restarts next time, it stays up. And I apologize if you hear squeaking, but Taylor has completely wrecked a new toy. So we just wait for that to restart. I'm not going to force it. If that restarts and it all comes back up okay, which it looks like it will do, the SQL Server and stuff is running. What that means is we have a potentially, almost potentially running application. Once that starts, what I'll do is I'll go into Auth0 and configure the Auth0 pieces. And that then should allow me to log in. Actually, it won't allow me to log in. Actually, at this point, it would allow me to log in. It would allow me to log in. There you go. So just as that came up, by the way, that appeared on that screen. So that tells me that's working now. So the RabbitMQ stuff, I'm not worried about. There's no need for the service bus piece right this second. That's actually for sending an email. So when you register, so that piece is going to be challenging. Anyway, what that should mean is if I set up you destroyed that entire toy already. So now if I go to applications, so I'm going to keep this off stream at this point because I don't want to, there's information I don't want to share. So I apologize, but I don't want to risk creating an issue for myself. I got to be careful what I share here, right? Okay. So will this now work is the question. Liquid sky.software. Okay. Um, this doesn't matter. Seed. Liquid sky software right this second. Um, registration failed. Of course it's going to fail. Mm. Yes, it's going to fail. No ingress. Let's just try that again. Right? But it went to the right thing, which means that the client code has been updated to be Liquid Sky software, which is cool. There is a production image that says Liquid Sky software, right? So that's cool. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. So the client is up and running. The it's got the right URL in there. The funnel is working fine for now. We do see some issues with this. It's more stable than it was, but it's not perfect, which is okay. We can deal with that, right? We can learn there. So now the next piece is to get that gateway configured, which should actually because there's no ingress to the gateway. So we have the API gateway configured, but there's no ingress set for the API gateway. And the API gateway is what's going to give us ingress. So if we look at endpoints here, no ingress. There's no ingress, right? So now we have to figure out, okay, well, child. Something rebooted last night. So we look at this chart, right? Or this diagram, whatever. So we have the client and the gateway is here, but this piece in between is not routing a request to Liquid Sky. So it knows that Liquid Sky is the client, right? That tunnel's working fine, but we needed to go to the gateway. How's that going to work then? Uh, Ingress rule. Oh, we're going to say if it's slash API, it's going to go via the gateway. Which is funny. We're going to set up a gateway for a gateway, essentially. Let's see. So if we go to infrastructure gateway index, so these names should get it routed to the right thing once it gets in there, right? So, but we'll have slash API and slash GraphQL, but we'll worry about GraphQL later. Baby steps, right? Baby steps. Let me just. So what I need to do now is set up an ingress rule. Let's have a look. Const ingress equals. Let's see what we can set up here. Rules. Okay. Close that down for a second. Pulumi. My hope is I can leave this up and it will just work. Okay, so spec rules. So host in this case would be liquid sky.software, right? HTTP paths. Path type prefix. Path is API. Backend service name ls. That'll do. Actually, use that, right? That should make it wait for that to be up before it even lets that happen. Hold on. Can you do HTTPS? Was it offloaded already? No, it shouldn't have done, right? Let's do parent is namespace. So limit up -y. Hey, it's coding. How you doing? How's it going? Just arrived home with daughter. How are you? I'm good. I'm good. What am I working on? Are you stuck behind ads? Come on, create the ingress. Please create the ingress. Please create the ingress. Come on. Update failed. The Kubernetes report that the API version for this resource does not exist. Verify that. Oh. Wrong version. Oh. That'll be why. I'll wait for the ads to finish before. Pulumi up. That's why. Oh, that's wrong. That's not valid. Ah, they changed the API. Service name. There we go. Okay. Okay. Ads should have finished. So what I am working on is I am working on trying to get my Liquid Sky application deployable to a Kubernetes cluster using infrastructure as code with Pulumi. So what I'm working on right this second is configuring the gateway so that the client, which is here, can actually communicate back through the API and its traffic is routed to the right service. So ultimately, I suppose I can do path. Path is matched against the path of an incoming. Must be present when using exact or prefix. Please create the ingress. Please create the ingress. Oh. So what I've been working on for the past 2 weeks, 16 days, or 15 days, is trying to get this configured so that basically I can just do Pulumi up and it'll bring up all the services, it'll bring up all the supporting pieces, it'll bring up everything I need to build the application or to use the application with a long-term goal, or the short-term goal, not long-term goal. This is definitely a short-term goal of being able to use the application to build the application. So build the current version out to this system and have us able to track our work inside of it. The benefit of this is practicing the whole, practicing deployment, practicing maintenance fixes, practicing bug fixes, going through that process time and time and time again to basically validate that we know what deployment looks like of the application. Um, um, so why is this timing out right now? CIDR not available. I have to remove subnet from Cube. So now we go into a new world. We go into a world of so my guess is that's what's causing that. So the ingress that I'm trying to set up. So I'm trying to set that's HTTP though. I want HTTPS as well. So you can do paths. And that's how you do that, is it? But we need we need TLS. How do I do that? I don't mind offloading. I don't mind dropping the HTTPS after this. That's not really a big challenge for me. I don't need to forward the HTTPS. If you want a backend associated to decrypt the TLS, use the following annotation instead. Do I need to install the cert on the machine? Because that doesn't. I suppose that makes sense because that doesn't know about. The idea are not available. Because that's never created, is it? So, okay. Let's have a look. I'm trying to balance lots of browsing and searching with um, flicking back and forth on the screen. I don't want to keep um, I don't want to keep flashing up screens every couple of minutes. Okay, let's this. Let's do. Actually, let's go back to Gemini. How do I configure a? How do I configure a domain ingress to my K8S cluster? Yeah, that's what my worry was. So I'm going to need to get the PEM for the SSL cert. The problem is the SSL is provided by Cloudflare. So here we go. I'm going to do some of this in Cloudflare's. Actually, let's ask um, ChatGPT. Make sure all the searches aren't visible. Okay. Login. So if you are new to the stream and you have questions, feel free to ask. Um, I'm trying to share my journey here as much as I possibly can, with the goal of um, showing how it's not necessarily showing how to do it, but showing my process and showing, this journey. And so far we're doing well, right? We've got a cluster up and running. We have SQL Server, Kafka, AKHQ installed, an API gateway console installed. RabbitMQ is installed, just not working right now. And we have a Cloudflare tunnel and an Angular client deployed there. So we are making progress. It's just, slow. This has been a couple of weeks worth of work to get to this point. Um, Now, I am concerned, obviously, so I'm using Cloudflare because Cloudflare will protect my IP, right? Um, it will tunnel all traffic. So if you go to that site, you're not going to find my personal address. Um, Now, what I was about to look for there is how do I get a I said I'd do. I said I'd ask the same question. So I'm going to ask this question to ChatGPT. Install an ingress controller, create a TLS cert, create a cluster issuer for Let's Encrypt, create a certificate resource for your domain, apply a certificate, optionally provide a certificate, configure the ingress resource, verify the setup. Okay, so there we go. That was a little more in depth than the Gemini version, asking the same question. I mean, they both hinted at the same thing, but there you go. That's that. However, I don't have a Let's Encrypt. I have an SSL provided by. How do I get the TLS cert from? Nice. So that gives me all the install information, and that gives me the information. So ChatGPT wins again. Try Claude. I've used Claude before. Okay, so how do I get a cert from Cloudflare? So all three of them have given me the information, right? ChatGPT gave me the most. Sorry. Okay. Access. Log into Cloudflare dashboard. Click on the SSL TLS tab. Go to the origin server. Specify Cloudflare tunnel. I mean, I asked the same question of all three. It knows what I'm talking about because of the exact same instructions. So I'm not going to I'm not going to mess around. I want to get this done. So okay. Origin certificates. Click on create certificate. Download. PEM. Cloudflare will generate your origin certificate and private key. Download the certificate. No, it doesn't. It gives me the PEM to copy. Choose between RSA. In this case, Gemini and Claude are similar. Choose your private key and validity period. This tells me click on create certificate. I'm not showing this because if I show something specific, I'm going to be upset. So save the certificate below to your client to save, click copy and paste the contents into the file on your client. But that doesn't give me a cert and key file, does it? Oh, no, look, do bud. No, no. Come on, lie down, bud. Hello, buddy. Hello. Is it Loki time? Hello. No, you can't come up. No, no, coming up. No. Hey, no, we're not taking tissues either. We know you. You're a tissue thief, aren't you? Hello, friend. No, we're not coming up. No, no. Ow. The punch is a little bit excessive, buddy. You okay, bud? Good boy. You good boy. We'll lay down. Okay. So what happens is when I go to click create, so I don't need to create because I've got one, right? This is assuming I don't have one. Now this one before cert and key PEM, but all this gives me is if I hit download, I have key format, select the key pair format, and it just gives me the cert. If I okay, it takes me back because I need to install the cert in Kubernetes to allow me to do the ingress. Hey, Ahmed. Goes well. How about yourself? See, I need the cert installed, otherwise I can't do the HTTPS offload. Well, it makes sense because then I can't decrypt the traffic, right? If I don't have the cert. Okay, let's say Cloudflare only gives me the PEM file. How do I use this? Hi, Rana. Welcome in. Let's try all three again. Okay. There you go. So again, ChatGPT says, okay, you're going to get a file that looks like that, split them up yourself, use a kubectl command to create a TLS secret, update your ingress, right? Let's see what Gemini told me. Gemini forgot that I was using Cloudflare. No, they didn't. Just give me generic instructions, and Claude gave me, hey, use a tool to split them. So Cloudflare is tunneling. Cloudflare is tunneling communications to the client. However, when I make a request, that's going to the Kubernetes cluster, and I need it to go to a different path. So not everything's installed in the client. That tunnel only works for navigating traffic to this. So when I make a request now, that request needs to go into the API, which means it goes through the gateway, which means I need to set up an ingress rule that splits off that traffic and sends it to the tunnel. Doesn't do everything for me. I still need to do this. So you think it's different if I'm using a tunnel? So how do I configure? How do I configure ingress? So I still need to specify the cert. I still need to see it. So if you're new to the stream, if you have any questions, thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to ask. I'm happy to share. The reason I'm streaming this is to share this journey, learnings, failings, everything. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to get my traffic from my client site, which is this, to go into the API. But yeah, this still requires a cert. I still need a certificate in there to do the TLS because I need to split it, right? This isn't all, this goes, right now the tunnel is allowing me access to client. But then when that client communicates, it goes to the gateway. That is the traffic I'm trying to now divert into the gateway through the ingress. And I can't do that unless I'm allowed access to the cert. So it does make sense to me. Okay, well, ChatGPT had a better chance. Let me go back over here. But yeah, if you are new to the stream, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. You're more than welcome to join in the conversation. If you think I'm doing something wrong, if you're curious at all, please feel free. I'm not where the heck was that? There we go. Okay, so if I download that now and I copy that, right now I need to go over here. I need to go and drag this over here. Nope, that says begin and end certificate. So There's no private key in here. So Claude might have this better. Would it be easy to use Angular SSR and set at the backend to proxy the gateway? Why? So then I spend the next 3 months trying to learn how to use SSR and hold myself back on the application development. Part of using Angular in the first place was so that I didn't have to save as documents, C, TMP, Cloudflare. Okay, so then what we do is, I think this should be available. Like, again, easier. Like, is there a different way of doing it? Yeah, there is a totally different way of doing it. Can we solve some problems by doing it a certain way? Yeah, it doesn't. This isn't necessarily a problem. This is just a way of doing it. If we move everything to SSR, then we've got to figure out the whole balance of what is server, what is client again, and we start that process up again. And SSR is a relatively new thing to Angular, so we can find all sorts of challenges in doing that. And I don't think it'll be a straight lift and shift of the code to SSR. So sometimes you just got to choose a path, right? And not worry about all the alternatives. There's no perfect solution to anything. But by doing this, even if we find that it's a painful path and we understand retrospectively, here's what we'd do differently, then the next application changes that, right? All the things we learn change. That's the benefit of this thing. People mostly just use the backend piece of JS frameworks to process their requests. This sounds like it fits perfectly. But expertise, right? This should be installed in yes, okay, you installed that. CDs. But people who are using that technology mostly do that, right? And I only have certain skills available. So you've got two choices. Oh, I want to solve a problem. Go figure out what everybody else does and try and spend months trying to figure out what they do to learn that to build something. Or use the skill set I've got, build the tools, and then if I see an alternative that I can comprehend, weigh it up. Is this good or bad? What's the pros? What's the cons? Should I divert? Should I do this? And make that justification. In When you're working in an organization, you oftentimes don't have that choice. You have to use the tools available to you. So when I started this project, knowing how big it would be, picking up new front end technology at the same time was not a choice I wanted to make. So picking up Angular, where I'd got experience, I'd done things, was the quickest way of getting things done. And that's the same decision I make again. OpenSSL X509 in cloudflare.txt out certificate.crt OpenSSL RSA in txt out private.key. Could not find private key file. So Cloudflare does not provide the private key. That's not good. Oh, hold on. Oh, you have to generate a new certificate. Okay, I get it. Now I understand. I'm being an idiot. Generate private key and CSR. I didn't follow the instructions exactly. There you go. My apologies. So, yeah, okay. So what that did was, yeah. So I do apologize. I can't share that exactly on screen. But what I did is I went into create. So I had to create a new certificate because I suppose that the private piece is gone the first time. So I now have two certificates. We only get it the first time. So now if I go to the download, I'll only get the public key. I do not get the private key ever again. So yeah. So I can revoke the cert if I need to. Okay. So now from that, I can I can do kubectl, create secret, TLS, Cloudflare, origin, cert equals certificate. These names don't matter, so that's fine. Key equals origin dot key. Hold on, let me do this on screen. Okay. So what I'm doing here is cube. So I'm local. I'm on my local machine, but I have the kube config, so I can do the kubectl. This will install it into Kubernetes. Secret TLS Cloudflare origin cert equals certificate dot crt key equals private dot key n. So we're going to put this in the gateway namespace, right? LS API gateway YARP. Okay, so that should create that secret. Secrets, Cloudflare, origin cert, TLS. Okay. There you go. There's our cert and key. Now, update your ingress resource to user secrets. So basically, in here, when we configure the ingress, TLS is a thing. Hosts. Right. There you go. So annotations up here. SSL redirect. What did I do then? So this should take off the SSL and then forward the traffic as HTTP, which means I don't have to mess around with that. Now, the thing there is my actual backends, my APIs may not actually be configured because they're in release mode. They probably want HTTPS redirects, so that might cause a problem. So we'll come back around on that in a second. Let's see if this works. Morning, Mr. Lion. It's all good. As coding was here earlier on. Let's do this. Pulumi up dash right. So this may work, but then fail because I'm trying to forward HTTP traffic that I've already offloaded the SSL on into. See if this works any better. Nope, I don't think that's working any better. The secret's there. Surely, yeah. Okay, so what do you want me to do? Am I specifying the question in the wrong way? Or, okay. I assume you think that the certificate is not required. That's the problem. You think the tunnel is going to do all of that. Is the actual challenge there? But I don't see how the tunnel, because the tunnel is a direct. That's up and running. That's up and running. Why won't you work? Should be fine. That should be fine. Host prefix your service. I'm not trying to. I care about it being slash API. I don't care about slash because that's the tunnel will take me to the actual site. Is the Cloudflare? Okay, so if I use the same, basically, if I use the same description to Claude, I should be able to do this. Using Cloudflare. I'm tunneling into my spa, written in Angular. I think Cloudflare gives me a certificate. Assert, but spa, but I'm not sure if I need a cert. Basically, I start at the basic layout and then ask for understanding of what I needed to do. My concern is you have to do something that you potentially don't need it to do. Okay. Interesting. Asked it almost the exact same question. I got a different answer, by the way. Fair enough. So, okay. So the challenge here is this part. Confirm both SPA and API endpoints are covered. They're not in my dashboard. They're two separate services running. So the API gateway is not in the same namespace. So do I now rejuggle the entire thing? Okay. Well, if we're gonna if so, what you're suggesting is that the tunnel, the ingress is not required because the tunnel will do all of it for me. But now I need to go to two different services. That doesn't explain that, right? That tells me, oh, just confirm both SPA and API endpoints are covered. So, how do you do new in ChatGPT? New chat. Start new chat. An end-to-end secure connection, you need TLS. If your tunnel connects to your backend over plain HTTP, Cloudflare handles encryption for its own clients, but traffic between the tunnel and the backend API gateways are unencrypted. Okay. Now that gives me the same answer. But the problem is I don't have an exposed API endpoint. The API gateway is not exposed in the same way. So to do that, so right now, the client site is configured in the ls client ng namespace. I added the client deployment in there, and then I added the tunnel deployment into the same namespace. No, actually into its own deployment, which is interesting. Did I do that wrong? Security, network, not configuration, sorry. Secrets. Oh, crap. Where did it go? Did I, did I lose the tunnel? Where did it go? Did it pull down the other secret? It did. This tunnel credentials file, which now is gone again, right? There should be a secret called tunnel credentials, and it's not there. But now, so that is in the ls tunnel deployment. But again, what figures out that there's no ingress on this thing? So how does it know? Oh, that's how it knows. Here. So if I do host name, no, I need to configure something else there, don't I? That's an ingress rule. Host name be liquid sky.software API. Is that going to be ls? What's that service name? Name is service. Now the problem is that tunnel credentials are gone again, so that's interesting. That is very interesting. Okay, so that should do the routing. Interesting that they get pulled down though. They weren't getting pulled down previously. They were there every time. Okay, so we need to figure out that secret again. What was that? kubectl create secret help. kubectl create secret generic tunnel credentials from file equals tunnel.yaml. And that's because that is tunnel.json equals. Oh, it's there. Dorp. I remember how to do it roughly. Oh, because the namespace. Right. And actually, I did create the wrong namespace. Because the namespace should be the tunnel credentials should be in the tunnel, which means that the tunnel is ls tunnel deployment. So it does raise a challenge, right? We have different opinions on how things should be done, or different ideas on why something should work. So again, I have just taken the path of I will go the wrong direction if I have to, and at least then because even now I understand what that's doing because of the path I just went down, right? Because I realized, okay, well, I need the SSL, cert, I need that sorted out. It doesn't hurt me to have that certificate. It doesn't hurt me to have that knowledge, but that's an insight that I now have that gives me that experience. So talking about it is fine. What it does mean is that when we go forward as we're building the software, it just highlights we need to have a conversation before we implement something as to how it should be implemented and get those assumptions out of the way as to how, so that we can have the path that we both understand and agree upon be the path, rather than, oh, I'm implementing it a certain way, therefore it's only that way. Because sometimes it's extremely time consuming to come back around, right? And that's going to go into tunnel deployment, not into. Okay, so the interesting thing there is because that's actually really interesting because the certificates. So the reason this gets pulled down is because tunnel deployment is created by the Pulumi up. So it's going to do the same thing again. It's going to get pulled down when I pull this down. I'm not going to panic about that for a second though. So what that should do is they should create two host names. So that's the host name they're talking about. And when it gets to API, it should go to the gateway YARP service. And that, I don't know what that does, but we'll figure that out afterwards. So if we do Pulumi up now, of course, this stream has taken like some really good progress, and yeah, it's flying by. So again, if you are new to the stream, you're more than welcome to ask any questions. If you have any thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing, I'm open to learning, even if I may seem frustrated at times. That's just a case of my having to turn my thought patterns around and try and not. Oh, that's a challenge. Why are you not working? Why are you not working? Oh, that's not working because the okay. So that's not working because I brought console down again. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out. We're gonna have to do Pulumi. No, kubectl port forward service / ls console service n is ls console 8599 to 8500 n is ls console kubectl get service n is ls console. Oh, console service kubectl port forward service console service. We don't need permanent access to these things. These things can just run in the background. So that's why I'm doing that way. We'll do that on the other screen because that's bright white screen. That's that. That's that. That's that. Kafka configuration. That's that. That should restart again once more. The tunnel isn't working. Interesting that. Oh, hold on. Is the tunnel not working because I created that thing in the wrong? Okay, let's do this. I'm going to regret this one. So essentially what I need to do is I need to configure, actually, let's do that first. Before I even mess around again, because I'm going to bring this up and down, up and down, up and down, right? Let's make sure console actually has some sort of persistence, right? So right now console is a deployment cluster IP none. Let's make it an actual stateful set. I don't like that. Storage. Spec. Service name. Okay, let's do that. Spec. Service name is service dot metadata dot name dot apply. And replicas 1. Selector. App labels. Spec. Oh, template. I think it's most of the same stuff. do that. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to do the same thing as I did over here, just create some storage. Again, learn later, refine this. So if I look at my, console config here, you can see I have console config mapped, right? So we just need to map the same thing. And the idea being that we just maintain this between restarts. That's what I'm afterwards. So persistent volumes, we can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. LS data storage plus console labels storage data. We don't need that much. Well, actually get away with less, but I think it would be 500 MI. Path. Worry about that later. Console storage PVC. Console data storage. Okay, so we do const data storage equals create storage namespace. Yeah, and then in the SQL Server stuff, we set the log, we set the volumes. So we need that. So again, I'm just doing this because I want to, yeah, that's there. LS console storage. So we can create the volume that gives it access. We can set the volume mount now in here. Volume mounts, and that's LS console storage, and that's going to be that path for /console/config. And now we need I think we need we've created the claim. By doing that, we've created the claim. So that should be it. We should be able to, we have a persistent volume. Our volume claim is from the data storage we just created down here. And then we have the volume mount, which gives us access to that in the actual host. And that should be enough for console to have now persistence. So when I save this again, when it reboots again, it shouldn't have to worry about that happening. So Pulumi up -y. Oh, is console services invalid? Really? Cluster IP non. So the idea of the cluster IP service. So that let me go back on this. So actually, it didn't matter. The idea is that when you have cluster IP, it gives you one IP address, whereas if you have none and it's a stateful set, it'll feed you back the IP address, so it kind of round robins the requests. So in the case of console, this is actually perfect, because if console was actually dealing with the health checks and all that sort of stuff, then I could scale that out if it was getting too busy. Not that that's going to get busy, considering how I'm using it. Napalm, good morning. But that'll work as is. That's fine. That's a service mesh, right? It is, but I'm not using it in that form. All I'm using console for right this second is actually the key value store. And actually, no, I'm not. That's a lie. I'm using it somewhere else. Actually, no, I might be using it as a key value store right now. Yes, yes, I know about Redis. I know. So basically, what I do is I store this configuration in one place because when I've got Kafka tenants all over the place, so this gives me the full namespace. So this will ultimately go away anyway, purely because well, maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. A variation of this, but right now what this gives me is a centralized version of all the Kafka topics. So when I see an event, I can actually align it. So in the code, I don't deal with the Kafka topics directly. I kind of load them on the startup. Um, yeah, yeah. I was using console initially because um, I was using Ocelot as well, which used console for its service for the resolution. But now I'm using YARP where I've got hard coded references anyway, so to the services anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So it's become less and less required. So now I'm just using it as a pure key value store, which yes, I get why. Uh, oh come on. So that's because I bet configuration. Bet you that gets put. That's there. So we were doing so well. So we had the client up. The tunnel was working. I diverted to look at ingress. Mojo pointed out that I probably didn't need ingress. Need to deal with the certificate because the tunnel was kind of doing that for me. I just didn't know where I was going to look, which gave me the insight into that's going to get removed now. Azure and Pulumi are not very well documented string value that to be in the same places for private endpoint to work with Azure App Service and Pro DNS. Networking is not my thing. No, no. So did that keep that time? That kept that time. Okay, okay. So let's try it again. My bet is that that namespace is going to cause a conflict again. This is not easy stuff. And it's getting easier. It makes a little bit more sense bit by bit. Obviously, I'm achieving certain things, but it's still intimidating. It's still challenging. Damn it, why are you now failing? Containers with unreachable. You're unreachable. Deployments. But that's not what it's complaining about. It's talking about LS client deployment, which is working just fine. That's failing because of Pulumi, of console. Let's do that again. Let's get that opened up and get that figured out. Hopefully that's the last time I do that, because there should have been. Actually, that's a good point. Did I check that? There you go. There's my console storage now. So 500 meg. 500 meg. Giving it an entire busload of stuff as well, just for one key value dictionary. Kafka configuration. There you go. That should restart properly. Networking was a 4-year program unto itself. I guess in hindsight, I wish I had done more now in college, but yeah, cloud really wasn't a thing, let alone software-defined networking. Okay, that should start up and be fine. Yep, that's all working fine. Fine. Why is this tunnel deployment now not working? Of course, there's no actual logging. Well, hold on. Maybe there is. No, there's nothing there. It's not even restarting. It's just not working. Well, hold on. Why is that in ls client ng? There's your problem. Why is tunnel deployment in? Well, I get why tunnel deployment's in there, but it doesn't need to be. There you go. That's the problem. I called it ls tunnel deployment. Okay. We need to do. We need to do something here. Infrastructure. Directory. Tunnel. Of course, I'm out of time again. Index.ts. Export. Function. Create. Tunnel. Build. Okay. We're going to move. Now I see why they made the secret the secret configuration stuff in Pulumi, but I do not want to commit pieces to Pulumi secrets for this. I want to keep this the tunnel completely separate. So if someone had access to my Cloudflare or whatever through whatever, they couldn't just pull those things. I took my intro class enough to know networking is a utility. I don't care, for example, how the water gets to my tap. I care that it does. It is why I believe that a true software development team has all the elements embedded. Like, they're not that team and that team and that team. I get it that there's responsibilities, but I think that a DevOps person should be in the team. The DevOps person should be part of planning. The DevOps person should have. The problem is that we dump that much stuff on them that we think, oh, well, they can't possibly align because they don't work that way. They don't work in sprints, etc. So therefore they can't possibly align. So they become a separate team. And I don't think ops should become a separate team. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to pull. So that should have node bearing on the config map. That should have that. That should have a secret for the client ng. That's fine. I'm going to pull everything out here. Oh, no, 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 no. Hold on. Where's the client deployment? That's the client deployment. Okay. Okay, this is going to be. Yeah, I think that I'm not saying DevOps should be doing development. I'm thinking DevOps should be part of the development teams. They know what's happening. They're part of the conversations. They're not isolated. They're not. Paste that there for a second. That goes there. That goes there. That gets renamed to deployment. So going through the exercise that I've gone through, having that conversation with Mojo, what that's given me is an insight into something I wasn't understanding. Right. So I'm more than happy to admit I didn't know it. I'm gonna do that because we're gonna do this. That's gonna go into there because that isn't necessary there. And then here we don't need to do the replacement because we're going to do ls client ng, right? Which I believe is a service name because, why would I be consistent on my... No, it's not. Yes, it is. Configuration.service name, configuration, fetch configuration. That's the actual service name. Okay. We need to do a review of all this. So, okay, so we need a namespace. This is const namespace equals metadata. Dear. Labels. Cloudflare tunnel. Network storage. So the problem here is that the moment I bring this down, tunnel credentials gets removed if I do ls tunnel content here. So ls tunnel deployment. Let's just do ls tunnel for 1 second. I want to keep it separate. That's that name. Oh yeah, that is the name of the deployment. That's the config. That's the creds. So this should be fine. So this is create tunnel. Create API gateway. Create tunnel. Okay. And I've lessened the dependency on other things, so that should be fine. So now that does not have a challenge with namespace. What I think was happening there was the namespace was out here. So originally I put that in the same namespace as the actual client, which meant that the credentials were available. Now the credentials are going to be part of this. Can this fetch a namespace? I don't suppose it can. Or will it? Because that's going to drop that the moment it pulls it down, I suppose. So, but a secret can't exist. You can't reference a secret in a different namespace, as far as I'm concerned. So, return service deployment. There's no service for this one, is there? I don't need it. Okay, let's just do one more try. Let's see what pieces come up and what pieces don't. And then I'm gonna have to call it, unfortunately. I'm running out of time. The difference. But again, DevOps being around, DevOps being there as part of the conversations, DevOps being, oh, that's because that's a hard-coded path and you're an idiot. Being part of infrastructure. Oh no, that's because that's, yeah, infrastructure / tunnel. Understanding what the developers are wanting to do, understanding where the challenges are, even DBAs, right? DBA role should still be assigned to a team. And yeah, I get it. There's normally fewer DBAs than there are teams, but why? They are just as overworked, just as overloaded. So I get it. It's a funneling thing, right? Well, why do you need 5 DevOps people if you got 5 teams when you can just have one DevOps person? But that one DevOps person is now torn between all these people and is never getting time for because they're in all the meetings, they're never getting time. Uh-huh. Oh, come on. LS tunnel deployment. Containers with unreachable. Deployments. No, that's Kafka. Mount volume setup for creds. Secret tunnel. Mount volume setup for creds. Secret name tunnel credentials. Oh, because it's the same problem. Because you're a dingaling. Did that. And I dropped the word deployment. So watch. Let's try that once more. It can't access the credentials file because the credentials secret was in a different namespace. The secrets here should be self-contained. Now, what I'll have to do, I think, is actually have to create that secret every time. Oh, it's like that might be running now. Workloads, pods. There you go. Deployments. Bad gateway. Yeah, Napalm, I'm of the same opinion. That is because this. Host name. That's the problem. Host name, tunnel endpoints. Cloudflare. It's not gonna help me. Um, traffic. I think the configuration, well, I know the configurations are wrong. What can I do? I'll see that page and think. Yeah. So in theory, that's right, but in actuality, it's wrong. So that should take me to Liquid Sky Client Service. Can I do a Pulumi and just change one piece because bring one piece back up? Because I don't think that's going to configure. I don't think that's going to figure out a configuration change. Oh, you know it will. Okay. Nice. What I'm validating there is, did my additional endpoint mess with it, right? Computer says no. I feel like I'm so close. In theory, that should work. So slash API should go to a different service. That's fine. And that will offload there. But I have no more time. So, hey, maybe it's streaming again. Let's go raid, maybe. I got to hang out a little bit there, but not enough the other day. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for persevering. I appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Yes, tomorrow's Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know how much time I get on this after stream. We're close. So basically, by tomorrow, I would hope to be able to hit that register button and register a new user in the database. And if that works, that is a massive step forward, right? Because then it's, yes, it's chasing configurations and tightening things up, but we're moving to an ever more consistent deployment, an ever more consistent and stable deployment, which is the important part there, right? And being able to keep building. So thank you very much for joining me. I will be back tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Let's go raid maybe. And maybe he's working on JavaScript stuff. Well, not JavaScript stuff. React and Android benchmarking actually today. So that's pretty cool. So thank you very much. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you again soon. Bye.